Hi, in today's recap, we'll explore the 2022 crime thriller titled Shattered. A rich man falls in love with a beautiful woman after his divorce, but beneath her beauty lies a deadly secret. This is Movie Freaks Club, your go-to place for mind-blowing, twisted and shocking endings. The movie revolves around Chris, a young millionaire who lives alone in a luxurious cabin in the mountains. However, he has problems in her personal life, as he's in the middle of a divorce. In a video call with his wife Jamie, Chris admits he delayed signing the divorce papers because he couldn't accept that their marriage was truly over. Jamie explains her decision to leave, blaming Chris for always putting work above family. Despite their separation, they share custody of their beautiful young daughter, Willow. One evening, Chris visits a wine shop and meets a charming woman named Skye. She asks him to help her pick a wine. After leaving the store, Skye tells Chris her taxi was cancelled, so he kindly offers her a ride home. During the ride, Skye explains that she shares an apartment with her friend Lisa and hopes Lisa is asleep to avoid another argument. Chris suggests she come to his house for a while and promises to drive her home later. Skye initially declines, but eventually agrees. When they arrive at Chris's modern, high-tech home, Skye is stunned by its beauty and luxury. Over wine, Chris shares details about his life, including his obsession with security and his habit of staying isolated. Skye also talks about her past, revealing that she used to be a model in Los Angeles, but hated being treated like a mannequin. After struggling to find a fulfilling job, she moved to this small town and now works as a waitress. After opening up to each other, their conversation grows intimate, and they spend the night together. The next morning, Skye returns to her apartment, where she has a heated argument with Lisa. Lisa accuses her of wandering around irresponsibly. Meanwhile, Chris feels drawn to Skye and decides to visit her at the bar where she works. When Chris arrives, Skye is thrilled to see him again. Later, as they leave the bar, they're confronted by a mugger in the parking lot. Chris tries to control the situation peacefully, but Skye takes a more aggressive approach, throwing a bottle at him. This provokes the mugger, who attacks Chris and breaks his leg before fleeing. After returning home from the hospital with a cast on his leg, he hires a private nurse to assist him during recovery, but Skye insists she can take care of him better than any other nurse. She offers to cook him breakfast and says she can fulfill his other fantasies too, which Chris seems to appreciate. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Ronald, the landlord of the motel where Skye and Lisa live. Ronald is angry that the two women are behind on their rent again and warns them they'll be evicted if they don't pay soon. It's revealed that Lisa isn't just Skye's friend, she's her girlfriend. Lisa begs Skye not to leave her, but Skye chooses to move in with Chris. Chris and Skye enjoy a romantic life together, until one night, Chris confesses he's falling in love with Skye. She admits she feels the same, but also says it scares her. When Chris asks what they should do about their feelings, Skye replies that they should aim for a happily ever after. Back at the motel, Ronald discovers Lisa dead in the bathroom. The police arrive to investigate and ask if it could have been an accident. Ronald mentions that Lisa was heartbroken after her roommate left her, but the detective finds it suspicious since there's no record of anyone named Skye in the database. At Chris's home, he prepares to finalize his divorce. He tells Jamie over a video call that he'll sign the papers. He also mentions hiring a private nurse, which Jamie finds it odd that Chris, who is so obsessed with security, would let a stranger like Skye stay in his home. Feeling uneasy, Chris searches through Skye's belongings and finds a photo of her with Lisa. When Skye catches him snooping, she says it's normal for him to want to know more about her. Their conversation again leads to an intimate moment. The next morning, Chris wakes up alone in his house and realizes that his phone is missing. He turns on the news and sees a shocking report. Skye's friend Lisa has been found dead. The authorities are still investigating whether her death was a murder or suicide. Just as Chris is processing the news, Skye suddenly appears, acting as if nothing happened. She explains that she went out to get some food. Chris, confused, tells her about the news report and suggests she should contact the police. Skye, however, responds coldly and says she is the one who killed her. Skye then reveals the truth. Lisa's apartment had been an ideal place to spy on Chris for the past 2 months. Skye knew every detail about his life, that he had no visitors, the hours he slept, and everything else. Every aspect of their meeting and relationship had been carefully planned. Realizing he's been manipulated from the start, Chris angrily tells her to leave his house. He then tries to leave himself, but the phone, which has control over the entire security system, is in Skye's possession, leaving him trapped. Meanwhile, Ronald, the landlord of the motel where Skye and Lisa stayed, finds a spyglass while cleaning their apartment. He starts peeping into girls and the homes of wealthy people in the mountains. At Chris's house, Skye forces him to hand over personal information to access his finances and assets. She plans to take everything, including his furniture and art. Ronald, while spying, recognizes Skye at Chris's house and grows suspicious. As Skye tightens her grip on Chris, she brings in an accomplice to help sell the stolen items, which turns out to be the mugger who had injured Chris earlier. After Skye leaves the house, Ronald sneaks in. Chris warns him that Skye is monitoring the house through her phone and asks him to call the police. However, Ronald demands $10,000 in exchange for helping him. When he learns Chris doesn't keep cash, Ronald decides to steal a $5 million Picasso painting instead. Skye returns home before Ronald can leave and kills him with a sword. In the chaos, Chris manages to escape on a motorcycle, but he crashes into a rock. Injured and stranded, he is picked up by a passing car. But after a while, Chris realizes that this man is actually another of Skye's accomplices. When they arrive at the house, the man reveals that he is Skye's stepfather. He adopted her when she was 14 and taught her to manipulate and exploit wealthy men like Chris. Skye and her stepfather prepare to drain Chris of his remaining wealth, $14 million in bonds locked in a bank vault. Chris informs them that accessing the vault requires his presence due to a biometric fingerprint check. Skye's stepfather makes a critical decision due to the circumstances. Meanwhile, Chris is visited by his wife, Jaime, and their daughter. Jaime senses something is wrong, but before she can react, the robbers lock everyone in a locker room and take Chris's finger to the bank. Chris instructs his daughter to crawl through the ventilation system to free the family. Chris confesses to his wife about the robbery, mentioning that the robbers are after the bonds. Jaime reveals that the bonds are no longer in the locker, as she had taken them on her lawyer's advice to use as leverage in their divorce. Realizing they've been deceived, the robbers rush back to the house. Meanwhile, Chris's daughter helps to free her parents. Chris hides his wife and daughter before confronting them. Skye realizes that Chris is no longer needed and plans to eliminate him, but unexpectedly kills her stepfather instead. Using the distraction, Chris attacks Skye and a tense fight ensues. Eventually, Willow shoots Skye with a pistol from behind. In her last moments, Skye reveals to Chris that her real name is not Skye, but Margaret. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you for watching. This is Movie Freaks Club, and I look forward to seeing you in the next recap.